Got the bathroom all to myself. Gonna die on the toilet on her.
Guys like you don't die on toilets.
From big laughs.
If we're going, shouldn't I have a gun?
No!
To breathtaking action.
Now we're cooking.
Fun, says Joel Siegel, WABC TV. The critics agree. This time, they're not taking any.
Just get off me, man. I don't want anybody to see us like that.
Lethal Weapon 2, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Lethal Weapon 2 is a 1989 American buddy cop action film directed by Richard Donner and starring Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Joe Pesci, Josh Ackland, Derek O'Connor, and Patsy Kensit. It is a sequel to the 1987 film Lethal Weapon, and the second installment in the Lethal Weapon franchise. Lethal Weapon 2 was the third most successful film of 1989 in North America, after Batman and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, earning nearly $150 million in the US and $80 million overseas.
Above Los Angeles, on this isolated stretch of mountain road, the special effects team of Lethal Weapon 2 prepares an action sequence that moviegoers will be talking about for some time.
And action!
The scene begins with a South African diplomat evading Mel Gibson and Danny Glover's arrest by hijacking a tow truck. Stunt coordinator Charlie Pacherny picks up the action from there.
As the tow truck comes around this big rider van you see here, the guy sees a little Toyota with a surfboard coming in the opposite direction. Hits the brake, Mel goes flying off, which we already shot. When he flies off, we have Danny Glover chasing him in the back. So when the tow truck stops like that abruptly, the station wagon with Danny Glover hits the Honda, which flies it through the air.
To get all the visual possibilities out of the scene requires a choreography of cameras as well.
Right now we have 4 cameras working on this setup, this IMO for the impact, and then we have 3 at the side for varying sizes and angles of the actual impact of the 2 cars.
The climax of this chase comes when the airborne Honda crashes into the Toyota, launching the surfboard mounted on its roof.
Action!
What you'll be seeing in theaters.
Great. Print. Both of them prints. Next setup.
The next setup is an even more dramatic scene when Mel Gibson's home, a trailer located in a cove, is invaded by a hit squad. Director Richard Donner.
It's a difficult scene. It seems relatively simple. On paper, 2 helicopters come in and shoot up a trailer, and he escapes and kills everybody and runs. It's basic, but to make it unusual and make it different and give it a little bit of a flair, that's why it's Lethal Weapon 2. It's a bitch.
Stuntman Mick Rogers explains the logistics involved.
It's a great scene, and it really comes together with all the logistics. You know, we've got the Mosca light that lights up the whole bay. It's a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment, 3 major pieces of helicopters here, and the trailer itself that we shoot up, it's got 4,000 squibs in it, bullet hits. So when we light that thing off, it's going to really come in.
Well, in total, we'll be here, I guess, it'll be 4 or 5 nights, all night, from sundown to sunup. And then this will probably boil down to maybe 3 minutes of film.
That's if we make it, you know. Anyway, don't expect anything great. I'm not a technician. Never used a camera before. I don't know how to light, and I don't know how to do sound. That's why I'm yelling. So you may not be able to see or hear some of it, but I promise you what you do see and hear will be real. Both cameras rolling. Action!
Oh man, we love you.
Get out of here, I said. Get out. Why is Mel doing this? I don't know. Hey, Wally, you got anything to say, Wally? Can you believe this? We're making a movie here. Without you, pal. Without me.
I go slipping, I go sliding over everybody's tiny. Oh, I wish I were a little bar soap.
Bar soap. Well, how's the hat? He does the face and I do the voice. Yeah, you do the face. Great movie. Wow. That's a waste of good living. Give me that. Give me that. Can I have that, please? Does it focus itself? Good morning. I'm on the drive to. It's the first day of Principal Photography Lethal Weapon 2. Beautiful day. Beautiful sunny day. Yeah, they wanted to assign a driver to me for the shoot, you know, but, you know, you gotta have some kind of personal freedoms left. I mean, I'm a big boy. I can look after myself. I mean, I've been driving for years, and I don't get the problem, you know. They should be around here. So, oh, there they are. They were just up ahead there. Oh, God. Oh, God, I hate that. You ever drop a cigarette off? Oh, it burns. God. Oh! Jeez, I hope nobody saw that. Put him out! Hey, come on, get out of here. You all right? Come on, you all right? Hey, okay, look, could somebody get that car washed? Okay, sure. We'll take care of it. Oh, you believe that? Make sure that the back rear tire is changed to baldy. That's what gets me into all that trouble. All right. Well, here I am on the lot, and all in one piece, like not a scratch. I'll lead a charmed life, really. Well, this looks like a town, but it's really just the lot. And it's a pretty rough schedule here in the morning. Not rough, I mean, it's fairly routine. I'm usually do the same kind of thing every morning. I check over to the set, and first thing I do is get something to eat. Thank you. And the next thing I do is get my hair and makeup done. Scott, Paul, hair and makeup. Thanks, fellas. You finished? Yeah. Right. And after that, it's a quick trip over to my trailer where they set my wardrobe out very neatly for me. I gotta climb into my character. That's the way I like to think of it anyway. So I'm just going over to my trailer to get dressed. Fairly private function, but heck, we're all adults here. Come on along. And it's at this time of the day, while I'm doing all these, menial tasks like getting dressed, that I kind of, get into character and sort of prepare for the day ahead. I need a little quiet time to sort out what I'm doing and where I'm going and the why, the what, the who, and the where of my particular character. And any little thing at all that goes wrong could upset me and sort of throw the Look. It's a quitter. A quitter. Look. Know what I mean? They crawl down the back of your heel. God, this makes me so angry. I can just about die when this happens. I'm gonna have somebody's butt for this. This is too much. I can't bear it. I'm taking this to executive level. Oh! Gee whiz. I can do anything, but I can't work with a quitter. Where's Mark Canton? Where is he? Where is he?
You can't go in there.
What do you mean I can't? He's not in a meeting.
It's in a meeting. You can't go in.
I don't care.
Ah!
Let that be a lesson to you. Mel, what are you doing here? This is an outrage. An outrage. Look at this. Look at this. You know what this is? Yes, it's a quitter. A quitter? How do you expect me to do a job with this kind of thing happening around here?
Mel, take it easy. I'm telling you, take it easy.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. No, what are you going to do about it?
No,
what are you going to do about it?
This is Warner Brothers. This is Warner Brothers. Mel. Wait. I'm busy with Mel.
Hi, Mel. Nice to see you. A quitter.
What are you doing here?
I just like to know something. How can a studio like this have a wardrobe department that screws up? You got one too?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What do you got? What are you
quitters?
It's a quitter. Look at this. What kind of junk is this?
What are you going to do?
Take it easy.
I'm in the middle of shooting.
Take it easy.
The schedule.
Hold it.
What?
Hold on, guys. Hold on. This is Warner Brothers. We can take care of this. We know how to handle quitters. The situation. Just take it easy. Look what I have here. Look what we have here.
Maybe that'll appease this.
Size large and size extra large.
Extra large? Is it all in?
Count them. It's all there.
What do you mean?
Hold
Is this a quitter too? Is that
Hold
what you're
it.
trying to tell
Hold
me?
it. And there's more where it came from. There's more. These guys are big stars. They're laces.
Hey, laces, okay. All right. Laces.
Get back to the set.
All right, but I'm telling you.
Get back to the set.
The last time.
Get back to the set.
Okay, no more quitters.
One more.
Look, I'm sorry. What? Any white ones?
Bad. It'll be very pretty.
Richard Donner.
Hi
there. How are you, Mel? I'm very well, thank you. Say, I sure like your work, Mel. Thanks very much.
I wish I could say
What is your work, Mel? Well, I act on this film. What is your position?
I guess if you're acting on it, I'm acting on it also.
Yes, he's acting as the director, ladies and gentlemen, the director.
Is this some sort of promotional deal for RCA?
No, this is HBO.
Oh, the HBO.
Yeah, so clean up your act.
There's a little RCA. There's RCA over there.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you keeping a steady run on all this, Mel.
Whoa, daylight. It's dark in here. Well, now it comes to my favorite part of the day. It's lunchtime. That's right, lunchtime. A film crew, you know, like the Roman Legion, marches on its stomach. But these boys aren't going to just take anything. I mean, this is coming off the back of a truck here. So it's done with meticulous care. And the cook, the hands of a surgeon. Let me take you over to the catering truck. So what are we having tonight?
We've got ribs today.
Ribs. Wow, this guy does really good ribs.
What? Yeah, I'll be right there, Albert.
Oh, gee whiz. Oh, give me that, will you? Get one. Come here. Give me that, my goddamn arm. Give me that.
No serious actor in his right mind would even think of doing a sequel if it wasn't for the cash and the money involved, the salary.
Well, I thought I'd share this with the viewers at home. My salary. We're in the water vault, and here it is. In black and white and green. Impressive, isn't it?
You know, filmmaking is pretty hectic, and sometimes I just forget little things like paying minor bills or returning phone calls, feeding the cat, but your negligent past always has a way of catching up with you.
You know, I've been looking for you. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't shoot you down like a dog in the street.
Well, I never really thought about it.
What?
Hey, it's been great seeing you, but I gotta go to work.
Hold it, sodbuster. Dance.
Hey, no, please.
You gotta pay for these.
What is it? What do I owe you for?
Your subscription. LA Times.
Oh, that's great. I'm being leaned on by the paper boy.
Sometimes I just have to get away from the hustle and bustle of the set, you know, and get up here in a different area, a nice safe spot. I've been coming up here for a long time. It's a great place to do it, to sort of get introspective, do those actors things that we do in private, you know, remember your lines, things like that. You know, torture yourself mentally. Hey, I can even gain 40, 50 pounds up here. See, it's just, you just get a whole new perspective on everything. It's very settling for the mind. It's a long way down.
Now we're ready for you on the set now.
Okay, I'll be right there, Albert.
Oh, God, oh my.
Oh, sheesh.
Jeez, I hope nobody saw that. You know, no matter how annoying it is, publicity and promotions are part of my job. TV interviews. Right now I'm talking to Easy Gibbons.
Come on along.
Mel, you've completed nearly 15 films. Is there anything you haven't done or wouldn't do on film?
Yeah, there is one. You're right. There is one thing that actually scares hell out of me. And if it were to happen, I don't know what I'd do. But I know it frightens a lot of other actors too. And the guys, I won't name names, but you know who you are. And that's, you know, fear of like that my toupee might come off in the shot. You know, it's. A lot of people didn't know I was bald, but it would be very embarrassing. Well, look, have a look at this. Camera wasn't on me for that, was it?
When you're shooting a film like this, are there any problems that the average person isn't aware of?
Yeah, well, there's something that happens in this industry that is becoming more and more prevalent, especially in this decade, the 80s, and it's getting worse, probably worse than the 90s. It's industrial espionage and sabotage on the set. I mean, it's an industry like any other. Oft times, you know, you'll have two films in production, some maybe at Paramount, maybe Warner Brothers, maybe Universal, in competition for a release date for the summer, say. And it's not unheard of for a hired hand or even an actor from another set to come over and try and throw a spanner in the works to slow production down.
I don't take bribes. It's not gonna work. They are paying you so little, man. What, like $5,000? I mean, I have it right here. I got work to do.
Yeah, I'm looking for him right now, yeah. I'll be right on the stage in a minute.
You did, yeah, just how soon is it going to happen?
Quiet. Quiet. Hold the work. Hold the work.
So what's going to happen? Over here. Let me just show you.
On the belt. Action, Mel.
Okay.
First I back up, then I come forward.
Back up, then come forward. Check. Hey, I thought I saw someone over there feeding.
Who threw that? I'm sick of this kind of abuse.
No, I had that happen.
This is what I mean about industrial espionage.
Show up.
This kind of thing going on all the time. No wonder I have to carry a weapon.
What a business.
Didn't kill him, but it'll slow things down for a couple of weeks, hopefully. Every little bit helps.
You know, you really have to go through the script with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that you get a good through line on your character, because they shoot out a sequence. It's a bit like detective. Excuse me. Hello.
Hello, Mel. Hi, it's Pee Wee Herman. How's it going? Yeah, I just wanted to wish you good luck on the shoot. Yeah, lovely, The Weapon Part 1. Oh my God, a quitter! Mel, I'm gonna have to call you back. Turn that off.
We'd like to talk to the director of the show now, Dick Donner, and hear what he has to say about the, the making of this film. He used to be a Yeti before he became a director. Dick? Yes. Could you tell us, please, what's it like working on a sequel of this magnitude?
He'll probably try and suck up to me again, thanking me for choosing him.
Chosen by you, Mel, to come back and do picture 2. I feel like I waited a long time in my career in my life to have the opportunity to
What a sniveling, crawling weasel.
I think it's probably from here back to Get Smart.
Well, you were involved in the shooting of Get Smart.
Yes.
And what else? You used to do all those early things, like the Naked City and...
Yeah. Did them all. Gilligan's Island, we have a great...
Gilligan's Island? Great. My career in the hands of a guy whose last direction was probably... Skipper, hit him harder with that. Help me.
Yes, I did some of the better shows. Banana Splits.
Mr. Gibson, about 2 minutes left in the evening, sir.
Just hold up the shot. Mr. Gibson's interviewing me.
Oh, excuse me.
When he's done interviewing me, then he'll go and do his shot.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know what you do on this picture, fella, but you better find your place. It's now.
God, and that was his son. You should see the way he treats the rest of us.
Lots are a pretty big place, you got to get around them. This beats the hell out of walking.
Your driver's license, proof of insurance, please, sir.
Yeah, sure, officer. It's here. I think I left it at home. Well, I was looking for Danny Glover to say a few words, but I can't seem to find him at the moment, so heck, I'll introduce you to a few other people while we're waiting, huh?
What's your position?
Well, it changes from day to day. It's usually head lackey.
Head lackey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, today I'm the first assistant director.
Michael Kahn, the
second assistant director.
Second assistant director.
Yeah.
Michael Kahn is actually rather famous. He's got a very famous brother called Genghis.
Yeah.
Richard Donner again. No need to talk to him a second time. Broad publicity. Sure. Co-producer Stephen Perry. Stephen, could you
jacket so we can always see.
Could you say a few words? Yes. USA. He was actually one of the Olympic team.
That's right.
He did the 3-yard dash. This is Claude. You've met Claude before. No need to talk to him again. He's fairly boring. This is Patsy Kensit. Patsy.
Hi, Mel.
This is my co-star, and she's from England.
That's
right.
London.
Yeah, London.
Hi, hello, everybody.
Now here's the majority of the film crew. They're shooting an action shot tonight. You can tell they're all busy here. There's Ray, the camera operator. Stephen Goldblatt, director of photography, ladies and gentlemen. Associate producers. Oh God, the director of photography has been shot. He's been shot. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Jeffrey Bohm. He's the writer of this illustrious project. This is Julie Buchanan. Script and continuity. John Ballou, head of special effects department.
This is one of my oldest friends here. We've known each other for
I'm not that old.
6 or 7 hours.
Who else are we? Dean.
Yes. How are you?
All right. I'm not only the owner of Hair Shows for Men, I'm also a client.
Just put your head down here. Look at that.
My name is Nestor Spade, and I work for craft service. I can get you just about anything you want. You want jelly donuts? I can get you jelly donuts. You want caramel popcorn? I can get you caramel popcorn. Come around later. We'll talk.
That's a long way down. Oh, hi. Hi. Come here. Come here. There's someone else I think you should meet. He's a very important cast member in this Lethal Weapon 2 project, Mr. Joey Pesci. Or should we call you Joseph?
No, Joe.
Joe's good. Joey Pesci. Some of you perhaps remember Joey. He was in Raging Bull. He did some great scenes, and he worked with Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. They did some great scenes. I remember that with, that one where he says, hit me. Come on.
Oh, yeah. It's a great scene.
Yeah, hit me. Come on.
No, that was the movie. That's
hit me in the face. Right?
Oh, no. Come on. That was the movie. Come on.
Hit me.
That was the movie. That's the scene. But Robert and I worked it out. See, don't do that. Come on, hit me.
No! Oh, God! Joey, I'm sorry.
You finish, Gibson! I'll kill you! I'll hit you!
God, I hope nobody saw that. Lethal Weapon wouldn't be Lethal Weapon without Danny Glover, and I guess it's high time we met the guy. I can't seem to find him anywhere, so I'll go over to his trailer and see what's happening in there. He's bound to be in there. So, let's just go and see what he's up to. Well, man, hey, there's always something going on in here, I'm sorry. Danny! I'll be right back. Well, come on in. Come on. Danny? Where is he? Well, there's always something going on in here, Find him. Follow me. Is that the bathroom? No. Have you seen Danny Glover? Is he in here? Never seen him. You haven't seen him? Nobody's seen him. Where are all you people? Are you all friends with him? Look, let's forget it. He's got to come out sooner or later, so we'll just catch him on the outside. Woo! Well, I'm sorry. I came up empty-handed. I didn't find him. Gee, this guy really knows how to live. He'll turn up on the set later. A worldwide search from the producers of Lethal Weapon to find the perfect villain. Produced and unearthed Derek O'Connor. In fact, it wasn't just a worldwide search. They combed the universe. And they came up with Derek O'Connor, sometimes known as Richard Burton.
Richard Burton. They were terribly hard up, and I have to speak very loud for this videotape. Because the technical equipment is poxy as crap. Anyway, Mel, I must go and see if there's anything on for lunch.
Okay. You going to the caterer?
Yeah.
Hey, careful, man. Watch his hands if he's got a knife or anything like that. Careful.
All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Hey, Derek, could you get me a cup of coffee while you're over there? Thanks, man. Derek, he's, as you might have guessed, he's from England, too. But he's just one of them. There's millions of English people in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, at last, Danny Glover.
Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
Oh, yeah, Derek. Derek. Hey, what happened, man? Oh, you went to the caterer. Well, what was he having?
Ribs, Mike.
Hey, these car phones are a great invention.
I think it's just all the convenience.
Yeah, pepperoni, double cheese. Are the anchovies fresh? Yeah, have it sent round to 29,000 Pacific Coast Highway.
Holy mackerel, look at this guy.
Gibson? Hey, you're doing 65 miles an hour, pal.
Yeah, you ought to be in the Olympic team.
Can I get your autograph? Oh, no.
Look, it's so annoying. People will go to any length to get an autograph.
Get off!
Come on, gosh, mighty. People can be really annoying at times, you know?
The other one's
Nice house, huh?
And then I'm going to roll
What's
this
it?
in right here. So we need a clear path, no obstructions, no...
I bet I can hit that house from here.
Just so they
Watch
can
it.
get the fuck out of the way.
As a matter of fact, Terry, anybody that doesn't have to be in this...
Joe, I hope nobody saw that. Well, as you can see, everyone on the film unit works pretty hard. But, you know, after a long, hard day, no matter how hard, everybody works. They've always got time for a song.
Suddenly appear every time you are near. They like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall out from the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair of gold and starlight in your eyes of
Well, it's a wrap, and it's been a long, hard day, and there's nothing left to do now but go home. And in lieu of my, previous disastrous driving experience, they decided to drive us to me, in the interest of safety and to keep me alive. Insurance won't handle it. So they've got me a driver, Eddie or Freddie or something. I can't remember his name. Hey, Albert, where's my driver?
Coming right in.
He's coming? Oh, there he is.
Okay, now it's time to go.
I guess this is him. Gee, I don't know if she sees this.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, Mel, we are here again.
Yep.
Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, maybe Lethal Weapon 3, 4. or not?
I don't know. That's a hard one. I got to take a rest.
Well, no wonder. This one seems to me that it has much more action and much more arduous action. Am I right?
It appears to have that. It was a lot easier making.
Really? For you?
Yeah.
In what way?
There was an ease attached to it, I think, because we got broken in on the first one, and there was a lot of freedom and relaxation that went along with the package. And I believe that as a sequel, it does all right. You know, it doesn't get boring. It's if anything, a little better.
I was just going to say, but I did not want to interrupt you, that I think it is better than the first one.
Well, that's good.
I
I'm glad
certainly
you think so.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't enjoy the first one, but I enjoyed this one even more.
Yeah.
Is this character, the way he's played, because he is not so suicidal this time, is the character now more like Mel Gibson?
No. I've never shot anyone in my life. But there are aspects that have to come out. You know, even if it's back there in the very back regions of your brain someplace, some recessive little quirk that is like that character that you can kind of drag out and put on display. So there's a little of me in there. I don't think you can ever get away from that no matter what you do. You're going to be you, because you can only emulate what you know from life's experience, so on and so forth. Let's get serious here.
Mel, when you were growing up, kid-like, who were your movie heroes?
There were hundreds. I mean, Hopalong Cassidy and, you know, Robert Donat and Humphrey Bogart and Spencer Tracy and all those, you know, Gary, you know, I love those guys. I thought they were really admirable heroes. So that the list was long.
Cary Grant, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I thought he was wonderful. Yeah.
And who were the people you didn't like?
The bad guys. No, I even like them. You know, very few I didn't like, unless they were boring and gave a bad acting performance. But you have a tendency to forget who those people are, so I can't remember.
You started out, I read that your first acting job paid $20. Is that true?
That's right. Yeah.
And now you're in, you know, megabucks.
Yeah, I make at least 100 now.
Come on, come on. You're in the $1 million plus bracket for a film.
I don't know. Am I? I haven't looked at my bank account lately.
No, that's the published figure at any rate. So do you look
I believe everything I read. Okay, if they say so.
Do you look at your assets sometimes and think, wow?
No? It's really hard to see.
Do you look at your portfolio sometimes? Now, so let's see what you do with that.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's really horrible. That's cruel.
No, but you're wealthy now, Mel.
It's really hard to be wealthy with taxes and things
Do you
like
have
that.
to pay both U.S. and Australian taxes?
Yeah, a little bit of both, yeah.
But you have more things now.
Certainly, yeah. More assets. Had to get bigger trousers.
See, this is the real Mel Gibson. I'm glad you're doing this shtick because
Shtick. Don't get me started on that one. I'm sorry, I'm snorting
this
like
whole
a pig
interview
now.
is going to be nothing but giggles, Mel.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Hey, we should have fun, right?
I think so too. If we're not enjoying our work, then what are we doing?
What's the point?
I want to very quickly ask you about the scene, the action scene, where you're hanging off and all around that tow truck thing. Now we see you, so it's, I mean, you may have had a double for some of it, but you're actually hanging off that thing.
Yeah.
Scared?
No, it was fun. But you know, the stunt crew is very highly professional. I mean, they're going to make pretty damn sure that nothing happens. I mean, you're very safe.
Were you tied on, cables on?
Oh yeah, steel cables running through, you know, up the nose. I mean, it was like, there's no way you're going to come off or be in any kind of danger. I mean, there's always a, you know, itty-bitty chance that the margin for an error is so slim that you feel pretty confident about it.
But it still takes quite a lot of physical effort just to do what you have to do, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a good workout. You know, it keeps you fit, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Mel, it's always fun to talk with you.
Oh, thank you.
You kind of appeal to my quirky sense of humor. And I know Lethal Weapon 2 is going to be a huge hit for you.
I hope so, yes.
And it'll only add to your assets.
Thank you. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're rolling, Bobby.
Danny, I'm so happy to see you. Truly, I'm always happy to see you.
This is about the fourth time.
I think so.
Yeah.
But you were in Fort Worth recently, and I had the opportunity to interview you, but I was off doing one of these for the weekend.
Oh.
And I said, that's all right. You tell Danny I'll catch up with him in Vancouver.
All right, good. I was in Fort Worth for a benefit dinner to raise money for sickle cell anemia. I'm the national spokesman this year for sickle cell anemia. And sickle cell is a disease that affects a blood disorder that affects primarily people of African descent and black people in this country, and it affects Greeks as well. But the cell sickles and it causes certain discomfort and pain and paralysis, and also causes death. Yeah.
So I'm sure they're delighted to have you as the spokesman.
It's been, I told them that this is going to be a lethal year for them. We're going to raise a bunch of money this year.
Well, that's a nice segue to Lethal Weapon, too, because, Danny, I think it's better, even better, if that's possible, than the first one.
No, well, we had that in mind. As we made this film, as we worked on this film, we got a sense that it was better. Now, we experienced it through our minds, you know, because Mel doesn't go to dailies much, and I don't go, you know. So we're living the film and growing and hearing a little bit here, tidbit there, and we felt it was better in so many ways. It's funnier. We see the relationship. It's easy to start a film at the beginning and say, okay, this is the relationship. This guy doesn't like this one, and they grow to learn. That's an easy plot. The plot is, how do these guys evolve? How do they grow? How do they go further? You know, what other kind of obstacles do they run into in their lives, and in terms of their relationship, and how do they really solidify this relationship? And that's what happens in Lethal 2, I think.
Danny, when it came to the big scene in the bathroom, and we don't want to give it all away, but I sat there enjoying that scene so much, and I must say, caught up in the suspense of the scene. But I kept trying to imagine what it was like on the set when you had to film that. Now, you all had to be making lots of jokes and things.
Well, I certainly was.
How did you keep a straight face?
Well, some of the language is not admissible for television, but some of the jokes there were pretty lewd, and it was real funny. But it's the seriousness, it's the humor in it that comes out of it. It's pretty easy, you know, when you focus there and your rear is hurting and your legs actually go dead, because I mean, for a period of time, that's what you're talking about, an hour, 2 hours shooting the scene, you know, setting up a combined total of about 2 hours sitting on that toilet, and you actually feel it in your legs and your rear and stuff like that. So it's real funny. But I had my, you know, and you know, Dick doesn't help the Richard Donner, the director. He doesn't help the situation, because he leads the whole cavalcade of jokes. You know, he begins it, and so it's. But it was really a fun scene to shoot, you know. And what happens is that so much comes out of it. I mean, you see you see the scene on the script, on the page, and then out of it comes so many little tidbits, little moments that are just, that are ingenious, and they only happen on film in a way, you know? And they only happen out of the spontaneity that's going on between these three characters. Like when Joe Pesci comes in at that particular moment, it's just at the right time, you know? It's just like...
The thing is, Danny, that forevermore now, people are going to be bringing up the toilet scene the rest of your career.
That is going to be something, you know. People have seen it in the trailers and have said, you know, come in and said, the end of the toilet thing now, huh?
Of course, when you made Lethal Weapon 1, I remember you said your concern was you were playing so much older than you actually are.
Yeah.
And you were afraid that you would get nothing but old man parts offered to you, but that has not happened, has it?
Well, I've made a conscious, and along with my agents, have made a conscious effort to kind of like expand the age range, you know, but we still have done that without being able to look at a script and saying, this is a good script, and this script is important to do, and we think you should do it regardless of the age, you know. I mean, me playing 90 would be kind of strange, you know, but we've had some sort of variance in that, but we're concerned about looking at the script and bringing out those qualities in the script that we think are important regardless of the age. But it still remains a concern. There'll be plenty of time for me to play 50, God willing, and older, God willing, you know, and so I'm not ready to jump in it outside of doing Lethal Weapon and having fun. When you do Lethal Weapon, age becomes immaterial. It's irrelevant. It's what happens in those moments, what happens between these men and what goes on in this relationship, and just the sheer joy of that.
Well, Danny, I bet you, if we're not talking in the meanwhile on some other film, that we'll be talking for Lethal Weapon 3. You want to bet?
I'm not going to wager that.
Anyway, whatever it is, it'll be a joy. Nice to see you, Danny.
It would be a joy if we did it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Once again, thank you.
Well, Joe, I've been here, you know, about 18 hours, so I'll say welcome to Vancouver since you just arrived.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you. I've been doing this work about 20-some years, and I've never met you before, so this is a treat.
I never met you before either, so.
May I say, you are absolutely hilarious and wonderful in this picture.
Yes, you may.
Did you have any particular person in mind or any particular idea in mind when you went to read for this?
No, when I went to see Dick Donner and Joel Silver, I didn't know what I would do at the time. I just knew that I could find a way to work with Mel and Danny that would be good. And I knew I could be funny, which no one else knew. They never saw me do that before. No one ever saw me be funny. So I didn't know how I would do it, but I knew I would do something. And I told Dick that I would. And I said, I can't read because I don't know what I'll do. You just have to trust me. You know that I'm a certain kind of an actor, and if I tell you I can find something and I think I can do it, you have to trust me and let me try, you know. And if not, then I'm dead, you know. But fortunately, they trusted me and they tried. And Joel and just by me telling them certain ways that I thought I saw the character. And then it evolved more when we got into it. But they were great. They gave me a shot.
Now, as I observe you, you're a very soft-spoken, kind of quiet man. And you get on screen and you are gangbusters. I mean, you just explode all over the place.
Well, that's the director. You know, Dick gets a lot of that credit. You have to give it to him. And I tell everyone I dressed like Joel Silver. Do you know Joel Silver?
The producer, yes. He does have a unique way of dressing.
We took some of Joel's clothing and Dick's craziness and the other part of the character I developed from the kids at Disneyland. You've ever been to Disneyland in California?
The kids at Disneyland,
that
like
work
do
there.
The shows?
The kids that work there. When you go in, And they have name tags on. I think they're all Mormons or something, but they have these great smiles. They're terrific looking kids, but they always have a great smile. No matter what you say to them, they say. If you say, for instance, excuse me, can you tell us how to get to Disneyland? And they say, okay. Disneyland, right. Okay, you're here. You know, so I just added to that even more. And as I said, you know, with Dick helping me keep it up and keeping me up like this all the time, and Joel's clothing, we made the character. So that was it.
You know, Joe, and I hope you won't take offense at this because I mean it in the most flattering way.
Yes.
The three of you, to me, were the Three Stooges.
Right, we thought of that a lot too, because Mel likes those guys, the Three Stooges, and he had mentioned how much he liked them, and I remember seeing them, you know, so little feelings of it probably, you know, dribbled in and out. It was fun, you know, more than anything. It's just Three Stooges are fun, so that's what the characters were, fun, you know. I enjoyed bothering Danny and bothering Mel, and they enjoyed picking on me or whatever and having me around someone like that. So it was just, all it was fun, and if that's what the Three Stooges are, then that's what we were, fun.
Which the Stooge were you?
I don't know the Stooges that well, but I just know it was fun. I don't know.
Tell me what it was like playing the scenes with those, were they earplugs, I mean, not earplugs, were they nose plugs?
They were cotton balls, just what I asked for in the scene, cotton balls for my nose to plug it. And because it was bleeding, so we wanted to plug the nose. And it was hard, because it was funny, a couple of times they went flying out. You know, when we laughed or something, cotton ball would go flying out. But it was fun.
And Mel accused you of padding your part.
Did he?
No. I just wondered.
No, they're not like that at all. Thank God, they're not those kind of people. They're great.
But you have in Mel also a person who explodes on the screen.
Right, he's great.
So did you feel that you had to make your character somewhat competitive?
No, I don't think so. I think the character had to be, you know, I didn't really give it a lot of thought. I just knew I had to go between Mel and between Danny somewhere, because they had their own thing going from the first film that I had seen. So I knew I had to fit somewhere between them just right, you know, where I could play this little funny guy and annoy them but still be funny and not get in their way so they could still do their thing. And I think just by being around people after a while, you can fit. You have to find that little spot, and you go into it, you know. It's all part of acting and working, you know. You find it, and I found it, fortunately, because it worked really good, it did.
Joe, what do you think will be the impact on your career from this part?
Well, from what I hear, it's the thing that I really wanted to do with it was to show that I could do comedy, because I always get these serious roles and these tough guys I play. You know, I'm doing that now in a film, and I did it before in Raging Bull, and you know, so nobody wanted to give me a chance to do the other part. They want you to read for it. You can't read for something. You can't read for a part like that and show them how you can be funny. It's just too difficult. You have to ease into the thing the way I explained it to you, and be around the people and feel it. And it's a matter of trust, and they had the trust. You know,
I should think Mel would be easy to play off of, because just in an interview, I just giggle all the time with him.
He's so silly, isn't he? He's like a little boy. Really, he is. He's really enjoying life. You know, he's that kind of a person. So when you see somebody like that, it's easy to work with them. You know, he never gets angry. I mean, you could do whatever you want to Mel. He doesn't get angry. He really doesn't. So, and he's got this little boy thing where he's giggling, and he likes jokes and things like that. So he's fun to be around. So it really wasn't as, you know, that difficult to do this. I mean, it looks difficult when I look at it afterwards, what I did every day, you know, being up like that. Because as you say, I'm really not like that all the time. I can't. But there's some of that in all of us. You know, you have those times where you get silly and goofy where you want to do those things. Or do you have to drink to get that way? I mean, you. But you know,
I can be silly.
Yeah, we all have those parts in us, and if you're around people that'll bring it out and help you to bring it out, then it's easier to do. Other than that, it's very hard to do, to stay that way through a whole film.
Well, Joe, again, you're just marvelous in the film, and I bet we'll talk again when you do your next comedy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
talking with you.
Thank you.
Our black hose.
Okay, Bobby, we've got speed. Go ahead, please.
All right. Well, Patsy, good morning. It's very nice to be able to sit here and talk with you because Lethal Weapon 2 is going to be, I'm sure, a big hit. Don't you feel that?
Well, I hope so, yeah. I think everyone's saying that they really enjoyed it, so I hope so.
This, of course, is not your first film. You've been in how many others before this?
Well, working in England on television, film, and theatre, I mean, since I was a child, really, so I've done lots of things.
As a grown-up, how many movies have you done?
Well, probably about 6 in the last 3 years.
Do you think that this one is going to give you maybe a wider audience than you've had before?
I hope it will open doors for me in America. But I mean, it's Mel and Danny's movie, really. So if people even remember me in it, I'll be happy.
Now, Patsy. I don't mean to be challenging that statement, but people are going to remember you forever from this movie. After all, how many women get to be nude in bed with Mel Gibson? Come on now.
Well, not many, I guess. So, yeah, I was.
Did you ever have to do a scene like that before?
No, I've never done anything like that before. And when I got the movie, they explained about this. They wanted to have this scene because it's about them meeting and having this incredible night together and really falling for each other so strongly, and then everything goes horribly wrong. And it really did call for the kind of intimacy that I think that scene we get in that scene. But having said that, anyone that's done a scene like that, you realise it's probably the most unnatural situation you'll ever find yourself in. Even with Mel Gibson, it's there's 30 odd people standing around, and it's kind of weird, and I'm married, and it felt very weird for me to be in bed with someone other than my husband. But having said that, Mel's such a gentleman, and he made it as nice as it could possibly be, I think, considering what it's like.
What was your husband's a musician, right?
That's right, yes.
Is he in a group that we might know?
He's in a band called Big Audio Dynamite. The lead singer was in The Clash, and then they kind of play the big places. They're sort of rock and roll group.
What was it like when you went home and told your husband you were going to have to do this nude scene in bed with Mel Gibson?
He was, he realizes that I'm an actress, and it's something that after he'd read the script, he realized it was necessary. It's not, it really isn't just titillation or, I'm sure people are more interested in seeing Mel's body than they are mine anyway. But he reading the script, he realized it called for it. And he came over and met Mel, and they became, got on really well. So he didn't have any problem with that.
I wondered when I was watching the scene with the gigantic shootout at Mel's trailer on the beach. Patsy, I wondered what it must be like to have to film a scene like that, because it's just all heck breaking loose, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. We did it really in sections, but once all the firing was going off and these things were exploding around us, you really have to sort of fend for yourself, and it was kind of scary. I mean, they really were big explosions going on, and there was glass flying everywhere and bits of wood, and Mel's incredible in those situations because he's done it before. I've never done anything like that before, so I really was genuinely scared. I thought I was going to lose an arm or something, but I think that added to the the feeling of the scene. It was very exciting, with all the helicopters, and it was very exciting.
The film is very violent by its nature. Does that bother you at all when you watch it?
Well, I haven't seen it, to be quite honest with you. So, but I do think that to get the anger across, the whole point. He at last, you think he's got something to live for in the movie. He's met this woman, and it's so great, and he's kind of, you know, he's more lighthearted, I think, at the beginning of the film than we saw in the first Lethal Weapon, because, you know, he felt life had been really cruel to him. You know, he'd had a rough deal, and then suddenly, you know, when Rika, what happens to her happens, you know, he goes mad again, and he just wants to. Obviously, these guys are very evil and deserve to, you know, come to a sticky end. But it's necessary to show that, because you see what he's feeling inside. You know, he's completely cut up about it. So I think it is very necessary. Probably some people may not like that, but I think you know, it needs that in the movie.
You're English.
Yes.
And the heavies in this movie are South Africans.
Yes.
White South Africans.
That's right.
Is that an uncomfortable situation for you?
In South Africa, or playing South African?
No, just the fact that you're English.
No, I was playing English South African. My accent was, believe it or not, English Afrikaans. They were doing the Dutch, the bad guys, and I had a very soft accent in it to keep it, because if I'd been talking like that, it would have been very ugly to listen to. But so I did the English Afrikaans, which is very similar to English, which is why you probably said that. So.
But no, the political implication is what I'm after. The fact that you're English,
yes,
and the heavies in this are white South Africans.
Yes.
Does that political thing bother you?
Well, no, because I mean, I think it's wonderful that if we can, you know, the South African embassy spends millions trying to promote how wonderful South Africa is each year, you know, come to Sun City and everything. And I think what Richard Donner's done in the movie is, if we can get it across to X million people that what's going on there is bad, it's not right, and I'm very anti-apartheid myself, and I think that we've done some good, and I'm 101% behind the message that we're getting across in the subtle way that it's being done, you know.
Well, Patsy, we have used up our time, but it really has been fun meeting you and talking with you. And don't worry, they're going to remember you from this movie. I promise you. Trust me.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
It's really a very nice performance.
Thank you.
It really is a very
Thank
nice
you.
performance.
Longevity. True.
All right, being from Nashville, Mel, we ever going to hear you sing, maybe?
Well, you know, I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to cut a single. You know, the theme would be sort of, I don't know, love lost, or maybe divorce.
Original.
Yeah. Or, you know, the same thing.
Yeah.
And call not go under my own name, call myself the Brown Bomber or something.
Can you give us a sample of what it would sound like?
Well, no, because I'd have to drink a couple of bottles of bourbon and get that lower register really going.
Yeah.
So it sounded like I was in the gutter, you know, and try and...
But
the Gary Busey school of singing, you know.
Or the Nick Nolte school of singing.
Yeah, same deal. Yeah.
But you do like it? You like country music?
I used to hate it, and then I got to like it. It's one of those just crept in on me, and I sort of always turned the dial with the country station. I don't know why, it's the damnedest thing.
Let me ask you something. I'm doing a couple different pieces on stars describing their look. You know, they have the 10 best, the 10 worst dressed list. How would Mel Gibson describe his look, his image?
I think I'm at least the third loudest. What do you think? That'll go well in Nashville.
So that's it? Loud? That's kind of
loud.
What do you look for
Today I'm loud.
When you're looking for proper attire?
Michelin's.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Not tires. I thought, Italian tires. Proper tires. I thought you were asking me. I like suits. I like really well-cut suits.
Really?
You know, the Japanese and the Italians do great suits. And there's nothing better than a really well-coordinated suit.
All right, I guess we have to talk about the movie here.
Yeah, eventually, yeah.
The slogan is, "The magic is back."
Yeah.
Did it feel like it?
It did. It was like the family coming together again. All those people that you work with, from the director, the co-stars, to the guy who cooked your lunch, all the same people, and it was a really neat feeling. And it was a real feeling of camaraderie and, hey, good to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
And that spirit went into the film, and it was kind of magical. We thought of, I gave the advertising department an idea for one of the ad campaigns on television where they say the magic is back, and I said that they should have had Magic Johnson sort of just dribble through the shot with a basketball. They sort of liked that, but I think he was too expensive.
Did it feel like you were doing a sequel or making a completely new movie?
It felt in both. It felt like both of those things. I know that sounds weird, but it was different enough to entice us. Yet it had to be the same in that we had to climb into those characters again, and they, although different, were the same characters.
Mhm.
They were quite different. We showed different sides to him this time. He's not as crazy. He's not suicidal. He's a little cleaned up his act, but he's still nuts. I don't know.
When I told people that I was coming out to interview Mel Gibson, the women just went nuts. In fact, you may have helped me get a couple of dates, Mel. I said, Mel, we're like this, I'm telling you now. Does it amaze you that people just, that women are just crazy about you?
Well, look, I never had that many girlfriends or anything. It wasn't like that, So yeah, I guess it is sort of. I'm glad. Geez, I mean, it's great to have an audience.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever think that you would go over so well here in the States? Because you had done, some things in Australia. Did you ever think that you would be the big sensation that you are here?
No, I just wanted to, make films and do as well as I could. I had hoped that, whenever you make, whenever you perform or commit something to film, you do it hopefully so that as many people as possible will see it, because you want to entertain them. You think you can do it. It's a bold claim, but you try, and it's just really gratifying,
Is it a nice feeling to be bankable?
It's very secure. That's nice, because you get a lot more choice of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more say in how it happens.
Now I understand you have like 5 children.
Yeah.
Is that family life kind of your anchor to kind of keep your your head on straight through all this?
Well, yeah, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
It's and I do, but I mean, it's not something that you kind of say, well, I have a family so they can anchor me. I mean, they're there, and in fact, you are theirs. I mean, no, yeah, you are theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really get too far away. I'm their captive.
Mm-hmm. Do your kids get into seeing you on film, or is it no big deal?
Yeah, I think it wasn't, when they were smaller, it was everyone's, for all they knew, everyone's father did that for a crust or did that. So it wasn't strange to them, but they become aware that that's not so, and they're into, they like watching and being entertained, so that I think they get a little chuffed about it. They like it.
Is there anything that you really want to do that you haven't done? I understand you're going to play Hamlet.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things that you wanted to do?
Well, yeah. We'll see.
Anything else that you really just kind of, if you had your druthers?
Yeah. Well, you see, I wasn't even sort of dogging to play Hamlet, I mean, it wasn't like I was hanging out saying, I've got to do that. Just the opportunity presented itself, and I thought, well, that's a good idea, so... And that's pretty much the way I feel about most things. There's nothing that I've really got to do, I mean, except just stay alive, I mean,
and be happy?
And be relatively happy.
Are you relatively happy?
Yep.
Come on, give us more than that.
Well, yeah, I mean...
You're relatively happy?
Yeah. If you look at what some people have to go through, geez, I mean, I'm doing okay.
You aren't very, very happy?
Who's very, very happy?
Well, some people are very, very happy. I'm pretty
all the
happy.
time? Yeah?
Oh, not all the time, but in general.
Sometimes I'm extreme. Sometimes I'm in ecstasy of happiness. Other times I feel pretty crummy. Boy, this is some conversation.
Thank you very much.
Well, Murtaugh is back in Lethal Weapon 2 with a host of new problems to contend with in addition to Mel Gibson. You've got a daughter in a commercial now that's just bad news. You've got people breaking into your house, putting stockings around your necks.
Oh, well, tape
around your necks, yeah. What's afoot? What's the problem here?
Well, the problem is that we've uncovered a little hanky-panky, with the South African government and a little crime there, and we're being pushed, first of all, to cease our involvement in it, to lighten up, and the gentle gentlemen that we are, we don't lighten up.
But we go to see an action picture, and wow, it delivers.
Yeah.
But we also get some unexpected things. I think notably the whole apartheid subplot.
That's a tribute to Richard Donner, the director, and what him placing and confronting us with important issues, you know, and it's an important statement about how he sees the world, you know, and what's important to talk about in terms of the world.
Do you think a message like that, in a way, is more effective contained in an entertainment picture than it would be if it were in a documentary somewhere? You know?
Well, what you want to do is to get people to acknowledge that fact and to act in some sort of way. You know, we're all appalled at the situation in South Africa, so we want to move people to kind of be supportive in a way of those issues. You know, and so it's a nice vehicle, and there are millions of people going to see this film.
There it is,
and that it just brings South Africa out there again, you know, in a way.
In fact, I'd like to follow up on that, because are there other ways, being a highly visible person like you are there other ways in other aspects of your career where the same subject has come up and you've been able to use your clout to get a message across?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been involved with the whole sanction movement with South Africa for some time, you know, actively and inactively for almost 20 years. So it's I've had an opportunity with my growing visibility to say the things that I think are important, you know, and to take responsibility for those things, to say them.
Yeah, in fact, as an actor, do you think that minimizes or increases your responsibility in that regard?
Well, I don't know. As an actor, I think in our small ways, we all, if we're just lay people, say something to make a statement. Whether in church, whether we give some money to a relief group that's going to provide money and clothing and medical aid to refugees, South African refugees or Nicaraguan refugees or whatever, or Central American refugees. If we do that, we're being active participants in change, and we're being active participants and acknowledging the fact that this problem exists and we have to deal with it. In that sense, we're all heroes in a way. I'm visible in a sense, and my visibility may say, hey, let me, I may say something and somebody say, well, let me read a little bit about that. Let me find out some more information about what's happening here, you know, so.
I'm going to go to the other parameter of things in Lethal Weapon 2 with the action aspects now, because Murtaugh is always saying, I'm too old for this, what am I doing this for? He's always got that exasperated quality. Now, does Danny Glover, I'm not sure how old you are, but do you sometimes on this set say, stand back, I'm too old for this?
Well, I don't.
I mean, stuntmen and doubles notwithstanding, you're still
I'm almost 42 years old, so you know, the bones do get a little rickety at that age, and so, but yeah, I mean, I have no problem with that, you know, with saying to a stuntman, it's your term up.
Was there a day or two on the set, though, where you had to do a lot of stair climbing and stuff like that, where the next day you could hardly get out of bed? You know?
No, I'm not. It's not that bad. I'm not that decrepit right now.
Well, just when we think we're in shape, you know. Well, what about that, though? You guys are in a picture with so much action that there must have been some times when there's a little bit of risk involved in something that you're doing. Any instance like that?
Yeah, there's some, but it's so minimal, you know. I mean, if one of us should go down, I mean, the film stops for a long time, so you have to minimize whatever and make it safe, you know, as safe as possible. Yeah.
Take us back to when Lethal Weapon 2 was just a gleam in somebody's eye. Was there ever a moment when you weren't sure if you wanted to do a sequel?
No, there may have been some moments in the negotiation process that called this thing into question, but no, there wasn't any moments that I really didn't think I would really want to do it. I mean, after it became a known fact and something to expect, weren't any moments where I didn't think I really wanted to do it. Yeah.
You know, there's some times in your scenes with Mel and with Danny Pesci, I could swear that that's spontaneous.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of that.
I guess, is Donner renowned for that?
I don't know. We did more of it in this film.
It seemed more, exactly.
We did more of it in this film, in Lethal 2, than we did in Lethal 1. But Richard Donner creates a kind of atmosphere or a playground, in effect, where we can explore and have fun, you know. And he encourages that, and try and change things. He encourages that.
Now, if you would, take us as far away from the world of Lethal Weapon as you can, and tell us about what Danny Glover does for a hobby or in his career that's as great a contrast as possible with this picture. You know, surprise us. You're home alone with the geraniums, or something we couldn't possibly know about, except you're willing to admit it.
Oh God! Let's see. What did I do? I mean, simply read a lot, or I take my daughter to school listening to Bobby Brown. There you go. Every morning I get a kick out of that. I go up and I'll go by a deli and get a nice lunch for her, have them fix a nice lunch, and come up to the school and bring her lunch, you know.
How old is she?
13.
Oh, so she knows who her dad is.
Yeah, I do that when I'm home, you know. That's about it. That's about it, you know. It's just yeah.
Well, Murtaugh is back, and he's got to put up with so much, but we're happy about it.
All right.
Danny Glover, good to see you again.
Thank you.
We're both talking about Lethal Weapon 2. Well, now we've seen the chase. Can we unfasten our seat belts for a minute? Has any film you've worked on at least had a stronger, more accelerated opening than this?
No. That was the intent, actually, too. Yeah. We wanted to come in the middle of another film.
I mean, it's like we go into hyperdrive. Now, coming out of it, we can get our breath and start to examine the anatomy of a chase scene like this. Or should we call it a second unit sequence? I mean, what is the terminology for a scene like that?
Yeah, a chase sequence. I mean, originally it was scheduled as a second unit chase, which meant I would have sent out a second unit director and a whole second unit crew, and they would have brought back dailies, and I would have looked at it and said, redo this, do that, do that. But since we started it 2 weeks before we started the picture, second unit was done by first unit people. And I had Mel there and I had Danny there, although I only used them in a couple of shots there. I had them there to feel what was going on and get involved in the beginning of the picture.
So let's go back then and follow it from the inception.
Okay.
The chase begins where? In somebody's mind?
Yeah, that chase, strangely enough, started in my mind because draft after draft of the picture started out what we call Mars the Explainer. Started out as a scene where we found out through Danny and Mel what had happened to their lives and where they were, and it was a drag, it was a bore. and it became a sequel, and I didn't want it to be a sequel. I wanted it to be an action piece of a continuing saga in their lives. And so I said to Jeffrey Boehm, or Joel, I forget, why don't we come in the middle of something like a chase? And Jeff caught into it instantly, and so he sat down, and I said the one thing I really wanted to introduce in the chase was that they're back and they're the Bickersons, and they've been married too long, and they've been sitting in the same car too long, and Danny still won't let Mel drive because he's senior driver, a senior officer, and Jeff came up with the idea. He said, why don't we have him driving his wife's new car? I said, oh, fantastic. And so it evolved.
A station wagon.
Yes, a new station wagon.
Now, at this point, I suppose you're restricted to looking at blueprints, maps, street maps of LA.
What we did was we decided to shoot it at night, because shooting in LA during the day, I wanted to make it first Christmas rush hour day, a chase in LA, which would have been a terrific chase. I mean, because you had jammed up cars and people all over, and we could have gone the most devious route in the world, but it became prohibitive.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford it, and the city wouldn't permit it. So then we transposed it to night, which meant the city streets opened up to us. The city fathers, the LAPD, made it available to us, and we were able to do it. So we went downtown and looked for what we thought were fairly visual areas relative postcard shots, but within a chase you could feel the city that you were living in.
But so far, it's still only in your head.
Here. Well, totally in the head. And then when I decided on areas, I sent Jeff Boehm down with the stunt coordinators, the stunt drivers, the guys who are actually going to drive the cars. And I said, okay, now you guys go figure out a chase, a visual chase, which they did. And they brought a storyboard artist with them. And they storyboarded the whole thing. And I'd look at it and we changed this, and Jeff would add a little of that. And
Now,
I'd take.
have you ever done storyboards yourself?
No.
But you have a person.
I'll tell you a story about storyboards and how this it comes into this. Years ago, I was doing The Omen, and there was a major scene in it. It was my first major motion picture. And there was a scene where the baboons in the Windsor Safari Park attacked the car because the Antichrist is in it, the child is in it. And I said, wow, this is going to be really difficult. I said, don't worry, we'll get a storyboard guy in, we'll work this all out with the animal handlers and everything. And we sat and we drew for weeks, and I approved, disapproved, everything. It was great. Finally got this great sequence down. And I sat with the animal handlers, and I sat with the drivers, and I sat with the actors and actresses, and I sat with the stunt people, I sat with all the coordinators. And everybody's got it, yeah, let's go, man. And we went in that first morning at 7:30 in the morning, and camera goes here, that goes there, B camera there, C camera there, A camera there, let's go. I roll, let the baboons out. 100 baboons came out, and not one of them understood the storyboards. And they got thrown out, man. And I, in a state of panic, decided I had to learn to improvise. And that's exactly what happened. Well, it's exactly what happened on the chase. We developed it, we built it, we had it all on paper, we knew what we were going to do, and then you get down there, and then there's a spin around that looks better, or that an accident happens there by mistake, and I wanted the tunnel, and you start to improvise, and you just make sure in your own mind you're cutting as you go, so you've covered all the pieces. I originally was going to do all the interior shots of Mel and Danny with a camera car pulling the other car and do all the dialogue, and I realized I can't do that. It'll take me weeks and weeks and weeks just to do the dialogue. So we tried something I hate, and that's interior process.
Right.
But Stephen Goldblatt, the DP, who's a brilliant cameraman, we tried a lot of new formulas for interior process, and I defy anybody to look at that chase and say they can see process.
From the process of a chase now to the ideological content, a lot of this movie, that anti-apartheid message is loud and clear. What is your philosophy about a message in an entertainment film as opposed to a documentary?
Well, you know, if you want to deliver a message and you're a total believer and you make a message film, you must realize you have a very limited audience, and that's too bad, because if you have a message to get across, don't look at those fingers. Don't pay attention to them. If you got to look at those, if you're restricting your audience to that message film, you are going to restrict your message. You're not going to get it out there. There was a wonderful film made last year called A World Apart, starring Barbara Hershey. There was a wonderful little girl in it. It was Chris Menge's second film, and I thought it was probably the most brilliant direction of the year. I thought her performance certainly deserved acknowledgement by the Academy. His did, the picture did. Nobody saw it, nobody acknowledged it. It's a sick industry, and So I decided when we had Lethal Weapon, and originally it was written that the heavies were Colombians. I was bored with it. And I said, Jeff, let's come up with something else. Let's come up with something a little original. So we decided, who are the heavies out there? If this was 1942, it would be the Nazis. Where are the Nazis? They're in South Africa, running the government. So if they're in South Africa, let's make them the heavies. And on top of it, let's show diplomatic immunity. So I can have a Mel Gibson carry an anti-apartheid sign. You can have diplomatic immunity that's happening in the United States and all the nations that are signatories to it. And then you see guys that have committed child molestation, that diplomatic immunity, and they get a hand slap and sent out of the country. So we got across a few messages under the guise of entertainment.
Yeah.
We got across the fact that if you eat tuna, you're killing the dolphins. And I get my little, it makes me feel good, but it's under the guise of entertainment.
During all of this, have you defined what best can be done in a Hollywood picture, in other words? By combining those priorities?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, it makes the filmmaker a little happier for what he's done if he can do something a little more than just to do an entertainment film with no message whatsoever. No, our message in this film is primarily, it's a good film, have some laughs, love Mel and Danny, it's good entertainment, and you feel good at the end of it, and you feel up. That's all I want to do. I'm an entertainer. But if within that moment of entertainment, if I can sneak one little line in, one little thought, provoke one anxiety in somebody, I'm thrilled.
Meanwhile, Lethal Weapon 2 has only just begun. We've got to buckle up our seatbelts again.
Hey,
Richard Donner, it's a heck of a chase. We're here in Vancouver, British Columbia, talking about Lethal Weapon 2. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5. Well, there he is on the automobile transport, all in a day's work for a movie actor, in which at times you have to be your own stunt person, I assume, Mel.
Yeah, but nothing dangerous, you know.
Well, what about that? How much are you willing to talk to the press, for example, about what scenes you're in and what scenes you're not in?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm never in anything dangerous. So.
Really?
That was safe. That was very safe.
Okay. Was there ever a moment, however, in any of the sequences maybe where it was a little edgy?
Well, you get little cuts and scratches and bruises, but I mean, really, you simply can't do that. I mean, they'd never be able to claim the money they've squandered from the insurance company if I end up splattered someplace. So it was, you know, very experienced stunt crew.
But I'm going to do a little what if thing with you, if I may. What if you had gone in that direction? Would you have been a stuntman? Would you have wanted to be? Would you have been a good one?
No. I don't like heights. And
yeah, that's a prerequisite, isn't it?
And a good stuntman is one who doesn't take a chance. And the guy who worked on Lethal 2, he doesn't take that many chances. He'll jump off 11 stories and stuff, but he really calculates it. I mean, there's a very narrow margin for missing a mattress.
Let's call this kind of movement then, instead of stunting, a sort of choreography of movement. Yeah. And believe it or not, I'm getting to Shakespeare and all of this because you've done Shakespeare a lot and you've got some coming up, and that means duels and lots of movement like that. Let's go back to, what is it, Romeo and Juliet? You did Mercutio some time ago?
No, I did Romeo.
And Mercutio, no, but not the same production.
Yeah, I never did Mercutio. But
I see. Okay, so you were dueling then. Was this a high school production?
No. It was on the professional stage.
Okay. Dueling?
Yeah.
Instruction?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, what about that? There, the movement's choreographed, possibly a bit dangerous with the blades.
Yeah. Well, I did fencing for a couple of years, so, and not only fencing, just to, you know, normal fencing, but fencing instruction for stage work and so on. So, and I like that. I find that kind of stuff interesting.
Now, as your Hamlet project is under consideration, are you at all haunted by the image of Olivier flying through the air in that 12-foot leap? I mean,
no.
Are you going to go maybe in that direction a little bit?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
I see.
I feel pretty good. I mean, Shakespeare on film is, he wrote for the stage, you know, so Shakespeare on film is kind of a problem already. But if you can get that right, and I think, you know, because we're doing it with Franco Zeffirelli, and he's done it twice quite well.
Indeed.
And I feel pretty good there, but after that, then there's the only other thing you have to do is to make it accessible to a contemporary audience, and that's what we're going to have a crack at, because if you can't do that, then it's not worth it.
Okay. Now let's get back to Lethal Weapon 2. The camaraderie with you and Danny.
Yeah.
It looks so real on screen. I guess we'd like to believe that in real life the two of you are great friends. What about the relationship the two of you have off screen?
Off screen, great. I mean, there's nothing not to like about Danny. He's a nice fella, and he's a good actor. So that there's a measure of respect there as well. And I get the feeling that he feels the same. So it's like, it's nice. And it's good to work with him. He's really good to work with.
And as a result, do you bring something to him then to counterbalance something he brings to you? Are the two of you a good match that way?
Yeah, yes.
For example?
Well, I think that happens within the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they grow. That's how they change.
Which is to say, you give him an edge he might not have.
Yes.
And what does he give you then?
He gives me a more, each kind of, I steady down a little. I don't want to kill myself anymore, for instance. I have a life. I live in his house. I like his family.
Right.
And cook dinner. So it's a good relationship. And I guess in situations like in war situations, or police, I guess, too, those people don't necessarily even have to like each other, but because they have to depend on each other, then a kind of a strong bond develops.
Now, in the body of your work, we do have the contrasts of pictures like Mrs. Soulful and this and the Mad Max pictures. Do you ever have a feeling of regret at all that something like a Mrs. Soulful couldn't be a bigger hit when it maybe should have been? And something like this obviously is.
I mean, it's really gratifying, and if a lot of people go and see something, but hey, too bad if they don't, you know. There must have been something they didn't like about it, but, you know, there's no regret.
You don't feel that
I got paid.
You don't feel that there's some kind of an inability of audiences to accept you in a more mild, restrained kind of role?
I don't know. I'll try it.
Are you in a position now in your career where you can say, for this project, I do want to keep it toned down, I do want to play a character more like a Hamlet? I mean, can you have some say in those kinds of decisions?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but from the beginning, it has been so. For people who are truly good to work with, they want your input. They want you to express what you think, so that you can talk about it. And if they think you're way off beam, they'll talk you out of it, and they'll give you good reasons.
Yeah. Finally, all of the stories about how kind of off the wall you are on the sets, those are all exaggerated, aren't they?
Yeah, that's total bull.
You're actually very
I
restrained.
have no sense of humor. And,
right. Tea time at 4.
That's it.
Yeah.
No dancing, no music.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Good to see you again, Mel Gibson. He is in Lethal Weapon, too. We're both in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.
When they...
Okay, tape is rolling. Where's the speed? And we have speed.
Well, Dick, I always look forward to talking with you because, first of all, then that means I get to see a Dick Donner picture, and so far you haven't disappointed me. They've been very different. Last time we talked was Lady Hawk, remember?
God love Lady Hawk.
Yes, I liked that picture very much.
I wish more people went to see it.
Well, I think lots of people are going to see this one because it's in a very popular genre of action and adventure and...
Sense of humor, too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's the difference, actually. You know, it's just action is action. And when I read it, it was an action. I'd never done an action. But Lethal Weapon, the only thing different for me was it had this that wonderful relationship between Mel and Danny.
And here is Mel Gibson, a registered lethal weapon, a little on the crazy side. And I'm wondering, Dick, in the script, if it was written into the script how far he should go, or whether this going over the edge business was something that you and he had to work on together.
Yeah, sure, we had to work on it together, but it was there. It was primarily there. It was a character who was on the edge, and due to his relationship with Danny, or to this new relationship with a new partner, it all starts to come back. The thing that wasn't there, that I really attribute to Mel and Danny, and that is their ability to relate on a level with a sense of humor. We developed that sense of humor, and a lot of it was improvisational. The entire scene in the car when they're driving away, which I desperately love, after Dan Mel has jumped off the building with the guy and he's attempted suicide, we thought, and Danny finds out from the psychiatrist that he's in trouble, and they start that scene in the car, and we drove pulling that car, and I was on the outside of the van listening, and these two guys, it just all started to flow. That's when it really happened between the relationship with the two. We were in hysterics on the car, and that to me is the only difference this picture makes from a lot of pictures. The action's great. I mean, I never played with action before. I love it. I surrounded myself with the best people in the world to teach me. But what I couldn't learn it was to develop this wondrous relationship between Danny and Mel. It's the funniest I've ever seen Mel. And Danny, I mean, he's just a natural. So the two of them together, and on and off set. I mean, you could never stop them. There was cut, and they just kept going for days. They were.
I wondered, Dick.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
You got
All right.
tape is rolling. And we have speed.
Dick, since this was your first real big action picture, and what with the Twilight Zone case and everything, did it make you more nervous going into this kind of picture and a little more fearful?
Well, no, not really. I'm a firm believer that, as a matter of fact, I'm not liked by stunt people. And we had a tragedy just after this picture was made. A wonderful man named Dar Robinson, one of the great stuntmen, was killed
On another picture.
on a following picture.
And what was it called?
I don't know. I've really tried to block it out of my mind. He's been a friend for a lot of years, and matter of fact, the picture's dedicated to him, as you probably saw in the titles.
Your picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer that there's not a limb worth a stunt, much less a life. And if I see a stuntman's pushing too hard, I'll pull back. I'll say, I don't want that, even if they want to do it. A lens is magical. We're illusionists. That's our job. We create all kinds of illusions, from humor to love to action to anything you want, to men flying, if you will. And if you can't do it with a lens, then don't do it. And that's been my policy, and I've been lucky. I've never had a major incident. Sure, people have been hurt, but you expect that on a minimal basis. But things can happen. They can get out of hand. You can lose control. I'd just be damned if it's going to happen on one of my pictures. If it does, I'll feel damned.
The one scene that is so spectacular, and we don't want to give too much away, but it's a tandem jump, and that was Dar and another.
That was Dar and a wonderful man, Mel's double named Mick Rogers, who is also a great stuntman who studied with Dar for many, many years. Yeah, that's a jump and a half. I couldn't watch that. I never saw them land, and I never saw them go off from the main jump. I can't watch those things. That's why I turn it over to the stunt people. And when it's all over, I said, "How was it?" I can't watch. My stomach goes into a total knot.
Did they do it more than once?
No, ma'am. If the camera, I had 4 or 5 cameras on it. If it came down to only one was a print, that's the one we would have used. But I would never. I would fight them before I let them do it again.
Yeah. I have a theory, Dick, and I would appreciate your opinion on it. I respect your opinion. I have a theory about actors, and that
so do I.
And that is that all the good actors I know and all the really effective actors I know have something wonderful going on in their eyes.
That's a lot of times you work with an actor and you say he's dead, and no one knows that he's dead behind the eyes. And there's those that are just so full of life behind the eyes. Now when you hit something right on the button, because if you ever studied those 2 guys, especially Mel Gibson, I mean, what goes on behind those eyes is magical. Watch him, man. He's dangerous. He's a pixie. He's the most wonderful, vibrant human being I've ever met. Strange man with incredible command of the English language, which you'd never realize. Mel is he's a quiet, unassuming guy who's really coming into his own. But you get into those eyes, I mean, forget it. They're pools. There's such depth in there. It's phenomenal. And that's where I really found Mel's sense of humor. I mean, because how many times you talk about not looking into somebody's eyes, or they don't return your look or something, and it's Mel, you look into his eyes, you know something's coming. You got to prepare yourself. He's a practical joker. He's got a tremendous sense of humor, and his eyes tell you when to prepare yourself for the shock that's about to happen to you. Yeah, that's a good observation, because eyes are a dead giveaway for actors. And when there's nothing behind them, they could work all their life and study all their life, but nothing will ever come on the screen.
This picture would seem to me to be just a perfect setup for a sequel. Would you do a sequel?
I don't know. It is a perfect setup for a sequel, and if we've had some incredible audience reactions to the film, and if we're already in the throes of preparing the start of a screenplay for sequel 2, whether I'll just produce it, I don't know, or whether I'll produce it and or direct it, I don't know. I never wanted to do a sequel myself, but I had such a wonderful time with these 2 crazies and the surrounding cast. The little, I call her Rianne, little Tracy Wolf, first time out, and well, the whole cast was one. I really cast this picture out of a lot of friendship. Would I do it again? There's a good chance this time I'd break my rule, because it would be just another 12 weeks of fun.
Okay. Yeah. I bet we'll be talking again maybe in a year or 2. Dick, as always, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the picture.
Go see it.
Lethal Weapon 2 was released to mostly positive reviews, but the general consensus being it was thin on plot, but its combination of humor and adrenaline, along with the chemistry of its leads, make this a playful, entertaining sequel.
Our first movie is Lethal Weapon 2, and in a summer of sequels, which have often been pale imitations of the originals, this one is an exception to the rule. The original Lethal Weapon was one of the smartest and most exciting cop buddy action pictures of recent years, and Part 2 is as smart, as exciting, and just as well written. This is not a lazy retread, but a sincere effort to do justice to the original film, and it really worked for me. As usual, the movie is built around a lot of spectacular chase scenes. Movie chases usually bore me, but this movie has some good ones. That's Mel Gibson back again as a crazy cop named Riggs, and Danny Glover also returns as his partner Murtaugh. They're given the assignment of guarding a pipsqueak government witness, played by Joe Pesci in a brilliant comic performance.
I know all those routines.
Leo Getz?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's me, Leo Getz. Whatever you need, Leo Getz. You get it? I use that all the time to break the ice when I meet people. You know, it's good.
The villains in the movie are South African diplomats who are involved in some kind of drugs and gold scandal. Mel Gibson makes them his personal enemies.
Eeny, meeny,
One of the moments of danger and comedy comes after the bad guys booby-trap Glover's toilet seat. With a lot of sequels, the filmmakers use all of their ideas in the first movie and then they just rip themselves off the second time around, but not this time. Lethal Weapon 2 was directed by Richard Donner, a talented action director who also made the earlier film as well as the original and best Superman movie. His writer this time is Jeffrey Boehm, and together they've kept the feel and charm of the original film, including the odd couple relationship between the middle-class Glover and the street-crazy Gibson. And then they've added some effective villains, and especially the brilliant comic relief of that fast-talking little government informer played by Joe Pesci. The movie is entertaining from one end to the other.
Not for me. I had sort of a split reaction to the picture. I liked all the things happening outside of the main characters. I think Joe Pesci is absolutely wonderful. You know, if comic roles are ever going to get Oscar nominations for supporting, at least, this I think would qualify. He's terrific. And I liked this woman, Patsy Kensit, who you didn't mention, who was the girlfriend, the love interest of Mel Gibson. I thought she was really erotic and kind of exciting, fresh face. She's a rock singer. But the two main guys bored me because they were doing a lot of this false laughter and false... I thought that the guys would be, in reality, much sharper than they were. I thought in the first film, Gibson's character was really suicidal, and that was part of his excitement, because it wasn't just a wild man, he was a wild man for a purpose. Here now, he's just sort of playing being a wild man.
If you remember, Gene, by the end of the first film, he had come back from that feeling.
I know what he's supposed to do.
He's still crazy now, but at least he's not depressed.
He wanted to kill himself, now he wants to live. I understand that.
Well, then what's wrong with that? That's a good idea, isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with it, it's just the way it's played.
But they're still interesting guys who know each other and who like each other and who stick together and who save each other's lives in this movie.
Let me ask you something.
Especially in that scene where the booby-trap bomb is going to go off. It's very well played.
Let me ask you one thing. Do you know what I'm referring to when I say about the false conviviality of scenes like that?
I didn't feel it was false. I've seen a lot of movies this summer in which nobody on the screen was as intelligent as everyone in the audience.
Yeah, right.
In this movie, it seemed to me the intelligence level was higher, and they had a lot of interesting new situations, a lot of interesting setups, and special effects here. They were not simply doing a pale retread.
Okay, it's not as bad as the Ghostbusters sequel or the Star Trek
Nowhere near as bad, no.
But I thought that the people around them were original. They themselves were not special.
Okay, even without being able to convert you, I'll just say this. If people want an action picture, instead of Ghostbusters or Star Trek
go see Batman.
or Batman, go see this one. It's a lot more fun.
Have you heard what high-powered movie is on video cassette at a low price?
I'm surprised you haven't heard about me. You know, I got a bad reputation. I mean, sometimes I just go nuts, like now.
Mel Gibson.
Gonna die on the toilet, aren't I?
Danny Glover.
Guys like you don't die on toilets.
Now.
Let's do it.
They're back.
1, 2, 3.
And this time, they're not taking any crap. The sequel to the high-flying home video sensation, Lethal Weapon 2.
Oh, come on, we're back. We're bad. You're black. I'm mad. Come on, man.
Hey, listen. If we're going, shouldn't I have a gun?
No.
You have no idea what you are doing. We're professional police officers. We do this for a living.
So you got it?
Come on, be original. Say yes. Everyone else says no. Come on with me.
Say yes to Lethal Weapon 2 on video cassette at a price that hits the bullseye.
Hey, you all right, man? Yeah, I'm okay. Where were you, man? You my partner or what? Why didn't you follow me down?
Yeah, why didn't you follow him down?
Shut up! I'm 7 floors up! You're not gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. No, there's not enough room. Sure, I'll make it. You're not gonna make it!
You were right, you know. Yeah, there wasn't enough room.
Now you can own Lethal Weapon 2, packing enough humor, excitement, and action for 2 movies, says Rex Reed of At the Movies, at a price that'll make number 2 number 1 on your hit list of movies you'll watch again and again. Bring home Lethal Weapon 2 on video cassette. The magic is back from Warner Home Video.
Warner Home Video released Lethal Weapon 2 on VHS on February 8th, 1990.
The magic is back.
What magic?
Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Lethal Weapon 2.
Now we're cooking.
On video cassette.
And man, the magic is lethal.
Lethal Weapon 2 for sale at stores everywhere.
The soundtrack was released by Warner Brothers Records on August 8th, 1989, and was written and performed by Michael Kamen, Eric Clapton, and David Sanborn.
Around the place.
It's Rika.
Rika Van Hagendas, like the ice cream.
Wagen.
Rika Van Hagendas.
Vandenhas. Oh, I'm so sorry.
In car shots, the actors have to clap to help synchronize the sound. Sometimes it gets carried away.
Guys, present for the sound, boys.
There were times I kind of forget who I was talking to, Leo or Pesci. It's a fine line with Joe.
Okay, Joey, okay. Leo. Okay, Leo, okay.
Well, if you get up there, you can help him, okay?
Okay, I'm getting up there.
Okay.
Kissy, lie down. Lie down. Now. Lie down. Lie down. Find a way. Lie down. Find a way. Lie down. Lie down. Put your head on his lap.
Diplomatic community.